Hey yogis, welcome. Today's class is going to open our hips, and specifically it'll focus on the inner thighs, the adductor area, but other parts of the hips as well. It's a moderate or open level class, so everyone is invited from beginner to advanced. Just do listen to your body and make the practice yours. Take it where it wants to live, as always. Thanks for joining me. Let's get started.
For this practice, you might find it helpful to have 2 blocks and a blanket. If you don't have blocks, you may not need them, but even books or a couple of pillows will do the trick. We'll settle into a comfortable seated position. Just bring our awareness into this moment, arriving fully at the mat. Settle into the breath body. And observe the breath as it slows down. Let's draw the inhalations through the crown, down the central channel, all the way into the pelvic floor and beneath. As we exhale, it travels from earth, up, and out through the crown of the head, connecting us to ether. Let's keep breathing in this direction. Inhales travel from the crown all the way down through the seat. Exhales from the seat and up through the crown. If it's natural enough to you, make the friction sound of Ujjayi breath at the back of your throat. So there's this expansive, cavernous sound creating a rhythm through your practice. Let's get absorbed in breath awareness together. Allowing the breath to do its good work on the body, subtly shifting its form and softening its edges. If you haven't done so yet, we'll add our bandhas. So as you exhale, you can draw up from the pelvic floor for Mula Bandha and allow that to feed directly to Uddiyana Bandha, drawing the deep abdominal wall back toward the spine and up underneath the ribs. All of that softens as you inhale. And keep re-engaging the lower 2 bandhas at your exhalations. Let's take another cycle of breath. And then we'll join prayer hands at our hearts, bowing our chins, and take a moment to set a shared intention. This is a hip opening practice, so it is likely that a lot of emotions will be stirred up on the mat. They might range from bliss to something more like anger or frustration. So in this practice today, let's resist the urge to escape uncomfortable emotions or to react to them. Instead, just getting curious about them, bearing witness to them without judgment, and only with acceptance. And on an inhalation, we'll reach the arms wide and up overhead. Slide prayer hands through your heart. And we'll release the hands. Tip back to let your legs loose. And then take a Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet come together, the knees are wide. If you know Baddha Konasana, of course, slide right on in. If your knees are floating really high, like the hips feel pretty tight, you could place something like a block underneath each knee. But if you're comfortable enough, take hold of the feet. Keep the spine pretty long and then hinge forward. Eventually the head goes heavy and gets soft. It may be that you want to stack blocks to support your forehead. And you could allow the head to simply hang or to touch the ground if it reaches. Baddha Konasana awakens the hips It's a relatively passive shape, so there can be this sense of safety that arises in the hips. The hips don't like to feel like they're under strain or stress. So if there's anxiety coursing through your body, find a way to ease up a little bit. The hips will yield if we make it comfortable for them to do that. Keep directing breath and space into the hip joint, especially at the inner thigh. Let every breath melt you in a little farther. Keep giving over to the shape. And then we'll send the heart forward, come all the way up to sit. Scoop our knees together. And then get set up in all fours. Hands will be under shoulders, knees under hips. Extend the right leg behind you, inhaling. And exhale, tap your knee to your tricep. Zip it up. Re-extend the leg, inhale. Exhale, knee to tricep. Again, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to tricep. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee stays now to make giant circles through the hip, exploring range of motion in one direction. And then take it in the other direction, maybe 5 times. When you're done, knee kicks the tricep. Re-extend, settle the knee down, and take cat pose. Empty the belly, tuck the chin. You can even linger there. Inhalation brings us to cow pose, lingering again as we awaken through the spine. Find your tabletop, extending left leg behind. Exhale, knee taps the tricep, zip it up high, and re-extend, inhaling. Exhale, knee to tricep, zip it up. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to tricep, re-extend, and this time knee stays. We can make giant circles in one direction, awakening all the muscles of the hip. Circle in the other direction. And then knee taps the tricep, re-extend behind, and settle both knees down. Take another cat shape, empty the belly, round the spine. Find cow pose, heart lifts, the shoulders broaden. And then travel from another cat all the way up to downward facing dog. Send the sits bones up very high. And shift around, awakening the parts of you that feel tight or dark or unused today. We'll settle back into our Ujjayi breath, locating inhales at the chest and drawing the abdominal wall back as we exhale. Let's wave onto tippy toes. And then all the way forward to plank. Lowering down knees, chest, and chin. Slither the heart forward for a cobra. We'll stay for a little while to find freedom at the shoulders. Maybe to drift the cobra slightly higher. And then drift the head back down. Send hips to heels for a child's pose. And far more than a rest, in this child's pose, we can feel deep hip flexion, that closure of the front of the hip joint. You could rock the pelvis a bit side to side to really investigate what's happening where the femur bone meets your pelvis. And let's wave this forward into tabletop, tucking toes, send the hips high again for downward facing dog. Come right onto tippy toes, and maybe without bending your knees, take a tiptoe walk to the top of the mat. Once you land, feet between hands, send your heart forward, fingertips to shins or the floor if you can reach. And we'll stay to lengthen through the spine. Grow out from the pelvis. Keep the heart shifting up. See if you can achieve the energy of a back bend. And then fold for Uttanasana. And here again, we'll hang out for a little while. You might grab your elbows or take the arms where they're needed. Allow passivity and gravity to open your legs and even the outer hips. Drift weight to toes and tip the sits bones higher and higher. Soften the knees and take a slow roll up to stand. The last thing up is the head. And standing tall, step the feet wide, preparing for a squat pose. Feet about as wide as the mat, toes splay out. We'll sweep the arms up overhead and then sink in low, hands right into the heart. Elbows can encourage the knees wide. It's maybe the longest held malasana we have. It's just so we can think about the tail anchoring down. You might feel some fascia breaking apart at the lower back and the outer hips. We're working the spine as tall as it can be. And then we'll plant the hands. Step the left foot all the way back. And we'll do some rocking. Hips forward, heart high as you inhale. Exhale, bow over a straight or almost straight right leg. And do it again. Rock forward, inhale. Exhale, bowing. A few more times at the pace of your body, your breath. And next time you bend your right knee, walk your hands over to crouch down low by the left knee, like a half squat with the right leg long. And walk your hands over to the right side. That knee bends, the left leg is long. Let's come back over to the left side, feeling every sensation, especially at the inner legs. One more time over at the right side, crouch down low, but the heart lifts. And then as you work your way to the left side, pivot, face the left, and right foot will step outside right hand for squat pose to finish that Sun A variation. Hands to heart, ground down firmly through the feet, and then sweep up tall, palms touching overhead, and hands sliding through the chest. Let's stay in motion. Belly firm, let's sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, down low to squat pose again. Press the heart forward to the shoulders, and draw shoulders onto the back body. Keep expanding at the low back and the outer hips. Place hands down on earth. And we'll step the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Hips sink forward as the heart shifts high to inhale. And exhale, bow over a straight or almost straight left leg. Keep moving just like that. Hips forward, heart high, breathing in. Exhale, bowing over left leg. Keep rocking at your pace. A nice awakening for the legs. Next time you bend into the left knee, walk your hands all the way over to the right leg. And maybe you don't even need your hands. It's all leg work. Lift the heart and then send it over to the left side. Shoulders back. You could gaze over the right shoulder. And then take it over to the right side. One more time back over to the left side. Come back over to the right. Pivot to face right. Hands to the inside of this foot. Left foot steps outside left hand. Sink back into Malasana. Hands to the heart. Shift the heart high. And then sweep all the way up to stand. Urdhva Hasta. Hands through the heart. Let's join the feet together, preparing for our flow. We'll bend low through knees for downhill skier. The arms sweep up as the chin tucks tightly. Keep depth in the legs, but reach the heart up high, the arms up high for Utkatasana, chair pose. Let's take a dive all the way back over legs for Uttanasana, and then send the heart forward. Step left foot back and right foot back for plank position. Vinyasa your way. Exhale to lower down, chaturanga or your belly. Inhale, heart rolls up for cobra or up dog, savoring the end of that inhalation. And exhaling into downward facing dog. From downward dog, extend the right leg up high, very high, for down dog split. Right knee to chest, step this foot between your hands and ground the back heel to rise for warrior one. In warrior one, build it from the ground up. Connect to the floor through feet. Let the underside of your legs work. Keep hugging the belly back, the low ribs back, but exposing the chest, softening the shoulders. Interlace fingers behind you and slide the knuckles down the back leg. Stay firm through the belly, but lift through the heart. And maybe even allow the head to drift back. Legs stay firm as we hinge forward for humble warrior, bowing just inside the right leg. Hugging the right outer hip in and toward the midline. The legs work hard, but the head can be heavy, the neck soft. Keep the work in your legs, but lift all the way up, giant arms open into warrior two, landing there like a martial artist. And broad through the hips, light through heart and shoulders. On an inhalation, reach the arms up overhead, toes point out. We'll bend into goddess pose. Cactus arms, you can roll them back a few times to open the chest. And we'll pivot to face the left leg, settling the right knee down as we do for crescent lunge, just lifting up. And then hinging down, hands plant inside the left foot to settle into lizard pose. You can bend your elbows, coming as low as the ground if you like. If the floor is too far beneath you, you could get onto blocks or pillows. Keep sliding the right knee behind you and softening into the shape. If you're experiencing stress or strain, back off a little. Keep becoming heavy at the pelvis. The head and neck stay soft, the face is soft, the heart is gently forward. And direct breath into the stretch at your hips. And then we'll climb up onto hands. Plant the right hand. Send your left hand to the inner left knee and move it away from your chest, coming onto the outer edge of the left foot as far as comfortable. And then lean back like it's a little cobra at the heart. We'll guide the left knee back in toward the rib cage. Plant the hands, tuck back toes, and sweep this left leg high behind you. So high you stack your hip, bend your knee, and point it high to the heavens. Stay equally long through both sides of the body. And make giant circles through that left knee. Point the knee high. It's going to come tap your right tricep. Re-extend the left leg behind you. And then take a vinyasa, any vinyasa of your choosing. It could be a 3-legged, or you might settle that foot down. Just clear this out with the pace of your breathing. And we'll land together at downward facing dog. A downward dog, slide the left leg high, very high for down dog split. Guide this knee towards your chest, plant the foot between your hands, grounding back heel, build warrior 1, standing tall. Make your body firm from the ground all the way up to mid-ribs, but everything above that can be light. Upper chest, the shoulders, sides of the neck up to ears, jawline, lips. Keep shifting the heart high. And then we'll release the arms. Interlace fingers behind you and slide the knuckles down the back of the leg. Stay firm through legs and belly, but offer the heart up to the heavens. If it feels comfortable, the head can even drift backward a bit. Keep the legs firm and then hinge forward, all the way forward for humble warrior, bowing just inside this left leg. The knuckles lift high as the head is heavy. We'll keep the left hip hugging in. Keep your left hip as high or slightly higher than your left knee to protect the joint. Press down through each toe. Find your little pockets of softness. And the legs keep working. We'll blossom all the way up and open. Big arms guide us to warrior 2. Little movement in the low body, but a shifting softness at the shoulders. Good. And then sweep the arms up above you, join palms, both legs straighten, the toes point out, and we come to goddess, sinking deep. This time you could interlace the hands behind your head, keep the belly firm, and lie back into your own support. So we'll pretend it's about the heart opening, so we don't even think about the heat we're building at the legs and the hips. Next, we'll pivot to face the right leg, sweep the arms up, and settle the left knee down. For a brief crescent lunge, lift the heart up high in preparation for lizard pose, planting hands to the inside of this right knee. You can slide the left knee back if there's room to do that, settling an elbow at a time down on earth, perhaps onto cushion or blocks. Can be a pretty intense pose, but find the softness where you can. Would it be possible to think of it as less of a stretch for the hips and more of a softening, a passive opening? In this held pose, we'll keep our awareness on breath. Keep getting curious about the subtle shifts happening at the legs and the hips. And slowly we'll climb back onto hands. Keep the left hand wide. You can even spin the fingers back if that helps you to open the left shoulder. Press the right hand to the inner right knee and guide it away from your chest, sliding onto the outer edge of the right foot if that feels comfortable. Go as deep or as shallow as your body wishes to go. And lift the heart. Lie back like it's up dog. And then guide the right knee back in toward your ribs. Plant your hands, tuck the back toes, and sweep the right leg up high behind. So high you stack your hip, bend your knee, and point it as high as you can. Stay equally long through the side bodies, and make big circles through the right knee. Pause to point the knee high, and right knee crosses the body, taps the left tricep. Inhale, sweep it high behind you, and take a vinyasa of your choosing to clear this out. Arrive to downward facing dog, pressing down through each finger pad. Come high onto tippy toes and take a leapfrog, feet outside the hands right into malasana. Hands into your heart. And we'll ground down to rise all the way up, stand tall, and hands slide through the chest. Let's work the feet about hips distance apart, toes can point forward. You might want to enlist blocks for this. We'll get into our hips now. By bending the knees, shifting weight to the right foot, send the left knee wide in order to cross the ankle over the thigh. You can bring prayer hands into your heart as you bend this right knee. And it would be possible to keep it here as like a balance pose, or take your hands all the way down to blocks or even the ground. But you'll feel the deeper you get into this right knee, the more of an opening you get in the left hip. You'll want to keep your hip, though, above knee height or at knee height. You can soften through the head and take several breaths, just finding an opening at the hips. And we'll find an unraveling. So step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat, ground the heel, and work the right hand to the inside of the right foot as you sweep the left arm high. If the ground feels too low, you could come up onto fingertips or place a block underneath the right hand. And feel free to keep it here or to wrap the left arm around your back. Find so much space in the chest that you take a full bind here in side angle pose. Keep spinning your heart up toward the sky, drawing the navel in and shooting the crown forward as you breathe fully. We'll release it, placing hands right down to the ground. We can frame the foot and sweep the right leg up high behind. Lift it very high and we'll stack the hip again, bend the knee, look up and over the left shoulder to catch a glimpse of your own toes. On an exhalation, knee to tap left tricep, sweep the leg out behind you. And then we'll send the knee forward, setting ourselves up in one-legged pigeon pose. Take some time to balance out at the hips. If you feel yourself leaning, send a blanket or some cushion underneath the right hip. Align the back leg behind you. And then when the moment feels right, hinge forward. We'll stay for some time in pigeon pose. And see if you can make it really relaxing, meditative time. And if for some reason it isn't, like there's too much sensation at your legs or hips, then climb up onto cushion, even if it's something you don't normally do. Give all of your weight to earth. And stay for about a half minute more. Feel free to keep it exactly where it is, or to take it deeper by climbing up or aiming to place the right elbow in the right foot, taking prayer hands to chest. If you can't plant your elbow at your foot, you could get it on the ground. If the ground feels too sharp on your elbow, place your elbow on a block or a book. Keep long through the spine, shoulders onto the back. Stay heavy through the left hip. And then plant hands on the ground. And we'll meet together, tucking the back toes, lift that right knee into your chest, and sweep the leg high. Take a vinyasa. Meeting together at downward facing dog. And come up onto tippy toes, put a bend through knees and leapfrog, feet outside the hands, landing in malasana, our squat. Hands to heart center, and then ground down to rise up, lift tall, and release the hands. Step the feet about hips distance apart, maybe slightly wider, and put a bend in the knees and open the right knee wide as we cross that ankle over the left thigh. Hands to the heart. You could make this a balance, settling the forearms down on the shin bone. But it might be even more effective to place your hands on the ground or a surface to bend pretty deeply into this left leg. Breathe into the right hip joint and the outer hip. We'll give the body some time to yield to us, to open in the way we want it to. Then we'll unravel, step the right foot all the way back, ground that heel and slide the left hand to the inside of the left foot. Could be on the ground or on a block or fingertips. The right arm reaches high. As you find space and roll the heart open, you might even wrap the right arm around, the left arm under, finding full bound, Utthita Parshva Konasana. Magnetize the feet toward one another, crown away from tail. And then release it. Hands to earth. Back heel lifts up. We'll sweep the left leg high behind us. All the way up. Stacking hip. Bending the knee. And looking up and over the right shoulder. Try to see your own toes. Knee comes in, we'll tap the right tricep, exhaling. And then sweep the leg back up behind. This time take the knee forward, setting yourself up for one-legged pigeon. Knee can be forward or to the left. Err on luxurious. Place some cushion under that left hip if you could use it. Get balance through the hips. And when it feels right, we'll slowly walk forward. It could feel nice to have a pillow or a bolster underneath you, even a blanket. But find a way to make this comfortable. It'll be degrees of becoming heavier and heavier in pigeon pose. Have about a minute here, and then I'll cue to deepen if you'd like to take that option. If you'd like to go deeper, you can climb up and begin a twist to the right, aiming to place the left elbow in your foot, palm to palm, to press the heart up, and the crown will stretch away from the tailbone. Keep the right hip sinking toward earth. And then we'll release it. Plant the hands, tuck back toes, and shift this left knee up towards your chest. Slide it all the way back behind you for three-legged dog. And then wipe the slate clean with a vinyasa of your choosing. Meeting back together at downward facing. Let's prepare for seated poses. You'll step or hop through to sit all the way down. Legs extend forward. We'll take a Janushirshasana shape, so left foot plants to the inner right thigh, but then we'll open it wide so you face the long edge of your mat. Keep your seat anchored heavy, and as though this were a wide-legged fold, just walk forward in the direction of your pelvis. It's not quite Janushirshasana, getting into the inner thighs instead of targeting the hamstrings primarily. Keep rooting down through your seat, pointing the right toes and the kneecap up high. It's like your pelvis is the roots and you're the stem and flowers growing long and out from your body. Allow each breath to sink you in a little deeper. And we'll send the heart forward. Climb up to sit, and we'll scoop the left knee up so we're sitting in this kind of half squat. Left arm lifts and the side body slides down the right leg. This is revolved Marichyasana pose. The left hand may or may not touch the foot. Make an effort to spin the chest toward the sky, to draw the left blade onto your back, to keep the fullness of your breath. We'll sit back up, drape the left knee back down where it was, and we'll scoop up the right leg to cradle it in our arms. It's rocking side to side about 10 times. Get some motion into the right hip. And then take the right foot right up to the bottom of your sternum. Sit up very tall, press your heart toward the foot. And then take this in stages. Can you sit taller, take the foot a little higher? Sit taller, take the foot a little higher. and set it up for fire log pose, stacking shin bone on shin bone, and make sure they're parallel to the mat line, flexing the feet, knee on ankle, ankle on knee. If your knee is floating really high, give it some cushion, blanket, block. You're welcome to sit right here if this feels intense, or hinge forward if you want to take it deeper. If this is just not working for your body at all, one option is to extend the left leg, just straighten it out in front of you, and take figure 4 pose, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh. You could even sit up on a blanket to make it extra accessible. We'll stay rooted through the sits bones and keep getting heavier. We've got almost a minute. Roll up to a seat and we'll prepare for the lotus postures. If you know lotus is not in your practice, feel free to skip this part, sit in an easy seat. If lotus is newer to you, I'll walk you through it. If it's very comfortable to you, you can come right in. So the right foot will slide it up toward the left hip crease and check in. If you can lift that bottom foot without pain in your knee, then you might be able to place it up on your right thigh or even up into the right hip crease. If you get your lotus, squeeze the knees toward one another and let your feet hang off the sides of your femurs. We'll sit in a mudra, connecting to breath. You could, of course, remain in half lotus or in any easy seat. Be grounded through your breath. And then we'll untie this human knot we've created. Extend the legs forward. You can sort of windshield wipe them, wiggle them side to side. Then we'll open the legs wide to transition. Sliding the right foot into the left thigh, this wide open Janushirshasana legs, but a fold right in the direction of the front pelvis. It's a similar feeling as a wide-legged fold, perhaps less intense. Keep the seat heavy. Let there be a slight external rotation for the left leg. So the kneecap points up, the toes point up. You can even self-adjust. And then the work is to give yourself to the ground. We have a little less than a half minute. Climbing up, we'll prepare for revolved Marichyasana. Scoop the right knee up and plant that foot as though in a half squat. Left hand grabs the right shin bone as an anchor, and then the left side body leans down the leg. Right arm reaches up and across the ear line. We're aiming to roll the chest up toward the sky and aim the upper back for your left thigh. Create space where there was formerly none. We'll climb back up, setting the right shin bone down about parallel to the long mat line. Scoop the left leg up into our arms to cradle it like a baby, rocking side to side 10 times. And take hold of the foot and guide it into your midline at the low part of your sternum. Sit tall. And then do that again. Lift a little taller through spine and hug the foot in closer, a little higher. One more stage. Lift your chest tall. Guide the foot a little higher, right in toward the midline. And then prepare for double pigeon. Stack the left shin bone right on the right shin bone. Ankle over knee. Give your body cushion if you want. Find any modification that works. Feel free to sit very tall with it or to hinge forward. Just stay heavy and anchored through the seat. I love to imagine that the hips are a universe unto themselves, forever expanding. So we can direct our awareness there. And allow the expansion to happen and get out of our own way. We're here for another full minute. Let's climb up and prepare for second side lotuses if you'd like to. See if that left foot will slide into your hip crease with no problem. If you can lift the bottom foot without taxing your knee at all, and then maybe you can plant the foot up on your thigh or take it all the way into the hip crease. Those of you very comfortable in lotus, you could even lift your seat and hang. Find a reasonable seat and we'll sit up tall. We can add all three bandhas now. Lift at the pelvic floor, hug the low belly in, and tuck the chin in toward that divot between your collarbones. We'll guide the energy into the midline and get grounded. Keeping this for about 30 seconds. Let's open our eyes. We can stretch our legs, shake them out in any way we need. And we'll set up for a passive but powerful inner hip opener. You need some wall space. If you don't have wall space, you could do this in the middle of the room, but it feels good to have a surface for your feet. So you slide your hips up as close to the wall as you can. Start with extended legs, but then let them drift open without any force. They're just succumbing to gravity. We're going to hold this for 2 minutes. And we'll have the intention of just observing, just being curious, even lightly amused as the heels slide farther and farther down that wall. Or maybe the reverse will be true. Maybe it will become too much sensation. In that case, climb the heels up a little higher. But there is such a beauty to the passivity of this shape. There's a real vulnerability at the inner hips. And we've got to be willing to surrender, willing to let go. And then and only then will the hips really yield for us. Enjoy your time. Make it as comfortable as you can. And rest your arms wherever you want them. Slowly, mindfully lift the legs back up. And we'll slide off of the wall. And we'll set ourselves up for our final pose, Shavasana. Of course, take anything your body requires before you can settle in comfortably. Take your feet at least as wide as the mat. You might even take them wider today to let the hips experience true freedom as the toes splay out. Let there be freedom even at the shoulder joints, softness at the neck, at the back of the tongue, even at the eyeballs. Take as long as you'd like in Shavasana. I've got about a minute left here. Thank you so very much for watching. Please do stay in touch. I really love to hear from you. Namaste.